Hello and welcome to Warthorn's EPGP tutorial. This is mainly for the late night crew members. I understand that it can be done multiple ways, and this is just the way that I'm going to be doing it for our 25 man coming up. So if this guide helps you, please hand it to other guild members that may have some issues understanding what EPGP is, how does it work, why do I need to worry about it, and what numbers do I need to concern myself with. So first things first, what I normally do is I create a macro to open up EPGP. So the command is just /EPGP, and if you make a macro for it and just put it to your bars, then you don't have to type it in. You can just click on it and the box will pop up. The first thing you'll notice when you click on people is the numbers in the officer's note. That you don't have to worry about that. That's for the officers or myself to actually physically worry about it and like input numbers in there, but you don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is worry about this box. So I'm in a raid group right now with Noxidus, R. Kelly PvP, Bojangles, and myself. You'll notice that the check marks are next to their names, meaning that they are in raid with us. You'll notice that he has R. Kelly has an alt, Global Freezer. All the alts are posted in the officer note. For example, on my alts, they should say Warthorn on the in the actual officer note. They're not, but they should. And under R. Kelly's alts, it will have his main's name on there. Bojangles, you can see all of his alts. We're still in the process of converting our guild into like full-fledged EPGP, but for right now, it's not. That's why I have no alts. The reason why you would want your alts there or them to be linked to your alts is if you switch mains, we don't have to switch numbers all over the place. So if R. Kelly PvP eventually says, you know what, I want Global Freezer to be my main, well, it's still going to say R. Kelly PvP here, but his alt, whatever EP or GP his alt gets, will be linked to his paladin, so he doesn't have to worry about converting anything, or the officers don't have to worry about doing anything. So just keep that in mind. When you get alts into the guild, let us know. Make sure your officer note of your alt has your main's name in it. It's first priority when you bring an alt into the guild. Get them the ranked to alt and have an officer change your officer note. Okay, so let's get into the actual what these numbers mean. Just for presentation wise, I'm actually going to give everybody the minimum EP. I'm just going to put test here. Minimum EP to be awarded for loot. Let me get out of there. That way their names are white. You'll notice they're white, and I'll go over why that's white in a little bit and why everybody else is gray. So what EP and GP? EP stands for effort points. GP stands for gear points. You get effort points by showing up to raids on time. Every hour you spend in raid, you get EP as well. For every boss we kill, you get EP. For every progression boss, you get more EP. Then finally, there's an Iron Man bonus where if you're there the entire time, you also get EP. We want to stress on attendance. Being there the entire raid, not going AFK, not disrupting the raid in any way. You know, this is how you get gear. Ultimately, we are here to get gear. We wouldn't be raiding if we didn't get gear. That's the bottom line. There might be other side incentives, like, yes, I want to be 14 out of 14 heroic, but ultimately we can't get there without the gear. So that's how you get EP. Other guilds might grant you EP for donating to the guild bank or helping a guild member out with something. That's cool and all, but I feel like that's something that's part of your job of being in a guild. I'm not going to award you extra EP for that. When a new expansion comes out, sure, maybe I'll throw some EP for people that actually are working towards building the guild bank and trying to fund it. But for right now, it's settled. We're good, and we're not going to award people EP for doing what they should already be doing. So that's what EP stands for. GP is gear points. You get GP or gear points by getting gear in the raid. Every item in the game has a set GP under where its equipment sets. You see my boots have a GP of 750. Weapons are more. They are 2828. With the weapons and shields, the only number you have to concern yourself with is the bigger number. So 2828 or 707, you would worry about the 2828 part. We're not going to use the second number. My other axe, 2000 or 500, it's 2000 no matter what. Trinkets, they have their set values on them as well. Even items you can't even obtain as a drop have GP on it for whatever reason. They just want to put a GP number on it. Like legendary cloak is 1750. Why? I guess they just put the formulas in. There's no way of keeping it off loot that can't drop in raids. Also, a question somebody might have, well, what if I want to craft something and like it's made from like the guild? Like, how does that work and everything? We don't really give EP for that. We'll sell you the mats and everything, or give GP for that. We'll sell you the mats because you can easily just get the mat and then have somebody else make it for you outside of the guild. So we'll sell you the mats, but we don't give GP for crafted items or anything like that. If you see something that somebody can make in the guild, awesome. Have them make it if they have the mats, or if you have the mats. If not, the guild bank will sell you the mats. So after that, all it is a simple division equation to figure out like who gets loot and who doesn't. PR stands for priority, and it will always have who has the highest priority in raid at the top, lowest being at the bottom. So for example, if Noxidus wins an item, and the only items that will show up here is all the items that I have actually looked at and highlighted. So all these items are the items that I looked in my inventory. That's why there's not like a full-fledged list of items here. When items are dropped in raid, the loot master part takes care of that, and people will get GP on their own. When I give something to them, something will pop up, say, would you like to award GP to this person? And I'll say yes. But for this example, I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So Nox won the Evil Eye of Galacris, the trinket. So I'm going to credit him the GP for that. You'll notice that his priority now goes down to 1.239. So it's down to 1.2, we'll say. And you'll notice that everybody else went above him. So now Bojangles gets the next piece in line. Let's say he got a bell, 1061. Now you'll notice that even though Bojangles got something and Nox got something, they're still not the same priorities because every piece of loot is separated. A belt is not as important as a trinket. A weapon is more important than a neck piece. So that's why if you look at weapons are so much higher, that's 2828, than my neck piece, which is 500. Neck piece are priced low no matter if they're heroic or normal. It's just whatever the add-on feels benefits the raiders to DPS or tanking better or healing better. That's what it's going to be, and that's what we're going to be set. Rings are a little bit higher, not that much higher. Pants are always usually generally 1,000. Chest piece are a lot at 1173, but it's usually trinkets, weapons, and shields that are priced so much higher. Also, tier pieces are a base 2,500 for normal, 3,500 for heroic. So even though a tier piece might have a number on it, like this essence, this leg piece has 1,000 on it. It doesn't mean I'm giving you 1,000 GP for that. You'll be getting 2,500. I feel like tier pieces, no matter if you think your tier is crappy or not, they're very important to a player. And if you're going to take a tier piece away from another player, then you're going to be awarded a lot of GP for it. So it's 2,500 for normal tier. It's 3,500 for heroic tier, and I'll be actually editing that as we go on. So you'll notice that Bojangles and Noxidus's priorities have been changed. They've been adjusted for the GP that they've been awarded. And now, even though Bojangles won a belt and Nox won a trinket, Bojangles still is higher priority. So if something drops, Bojangles will get it. And yes, that means Bojangles potentially could get 2 or even 3 more pieces before Nox would even get 1. But that's how EPGP is designed. That it is designed to, if you get a good item in the beginning, you're going to have to wait your turn so people can get some crappy items, and then you'll eventually be the higher priority. Now, we are implementing like a loot council as well. So let's say Nox did get the trinket, and then Bojangles got a ring, and then got a bell, and then he's still higher priority, and a weapon drops. Well, we'll look at that and be like, all right, well, who's higher priority? Bojangles, but he's already won 2 things. Nox has only won 1. GM intervention, I'm going to be giving that to Nox. Depending on best in slot list, depending on stats, it's all going to change. We're going to make it as fair to you guys as possible. We don't want this computer taking the fun out of the game. And if it's anybody's going to be mad at me, not be mad at the add-on, because there's nothing wrong with the add-on as long as it's all decided by the people who are running it. So we're going to be as fair as possible, making sure that the loot is distributed as evenly as possible, and it's going where it needs to be. So if DPS is slacking, we're going to give pieces to DPS. That means a healer might not get something until like 2-3 weeks down the line. But if your heals are good, your heals are good. You don't need anything. And you shouldn't be here like, I understand we're all here for loot, but you need to make sure that the gear is going to the right person. That way we can get better loot when we start doing heroics. That's how the guild works. So again, let's say I win something. Let's say I win a ring. I'm going to give myself GP. And now, even though all three of us have won something, because mine wasn't as good as theirs, I still have higher priority. And then the next thing that would drop would go to R. Kelly. Now, a lot of people are like, well, I ran DKP. Well, I ran something similar to this. Why can't I just hoard my priority until something I want really does drop? Truth be told, you can do that. Why you would do that, I don't know. That means you're not going to get loot and increase your DPS until that final thing that you want drops. Those are the type of players that I don't want in my raid group. But if your concern is, well, what if somebody else is hoarding it? Well, that's why there's a decay in place, and a lot of people might think 20% is a little high. Well, it is, and there's a reason for it. All right, so what a decay is every Tuesday before raid, before we step into the raid and I give out the recurring 1 hour loot, I will deduct everybody's EP and GP by 20%. Now, GP is, if it's 250, like R. Kelly's right here, it's not going to go lower than that because GP is designed to never go under 250. So that means if you don't win something, you'll eventually get back down to the base value of GP, which is 250. Also, any number divided by 0 is undefined, so you can't really have GP as 0 anyway. But let's say it's Tuesday, we're going to decay this, and you'll notice that R. Kelly's priority, now everything went back black because everybody lost their 500 EP for the decay, and then everybody else's GP went down, and now the numbers all changed. You notice that not Nox's, Bojangles, or my numbers went down so much as R. Kelly. So the higher priority you have, the bigger the decay reduction is going to be. So let's just decay it again just to see it. It's 1.239 right now, and it's still 1.239. So it didn't change too much, but you see R. Kelly's is continuously going to go down week after week after week. That's just how the add-on work. Now, people might be like, well, if it's 20%, what's it going to matter? It's still going to be the same. Not necessarily. As you keep going down, your priority is going to get higher. See, now you'll notice that after 3 weeks of not getting any gear, Nox is finally back up to a 1.24, Bojangles is 1.91. So you'll notice that we're still climbing and trying to reach R. Kelly. So let's say the trinket finally drops for R. Kelly. Now look at his priority. It's 0.63. So the add-on has caught up to itself. And then as the weeks go on, if we don't get anything, R. Kelly's will continuously go. But remember, at the same time, you're getting EP. So let's say 3 weeks went by, but that also means that we were awarded, let's say we get 200 for each boss, and there's 2,800 potential points each and every week. I mean, I just awarded everybody 3 weeks worth of bosses. Now look how high everybody's priority is going to be with low GP. So even though they were really close a minute ago, now you see the separation. And when there's 25 to 35 players that are all trying to like fight for loot and everything, like you'll see it relative in application better than you could see it now. But I wanted to give you guys a good idea of how it worked. Also to answer some of the like frequently asked questions that are going on, like, well, what if I'm on a bench for the night? Will I still be awarded EP? Yes, you will be awarded EP. In fact, you'll be awarded more EP than people in the raid. You'll actually be awarded a benched EP. So ball skills could net 200. You would get like 250 for each ball skill. We want to make sure that when you come into the raid, we appreciate that, hey, look, you sat for this week. We want you in the raid group. You have actually more EP to get with, because if you're benched, that also means that you're not really a starting player, and you rarely might get into raids until you get better gear. But we want to make sure that when you do get into raids, you do get the gear, and other players might be like, oh, well, he sat for the last 2 weeks and he's got more EP than me, and I've been here and I still haven't gotten anything. Well, he's still been in the raid. Even though he hasn't like contributed to actually physically being in there and killing bosses, he's been there, he's been on time, and he's been raid ready, and he's ready to go. And that's just what being a team player is all about. That would rarely happen, but it could potentially happen. You could also be the beneficiary of the end of that as well. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the EPGP add-on. Everything that EPGP calculates where the loot goes to is uploaded to the website each and every night after raid. So if you're wondering, okay, how many pieces did this person have? How many pieces did this person have? You could actually go to the website and click on their name, and it'll tell you how many pieces on what given night they actually did drop. I would show you now, but our website's down, so that's something that I might be showing you guys on a later tutorial video. But you could look at the website and you could see what, who has gotten something. And if you have a question or an issue or a problem with where loot has been going, please bring it up to me or one of the other officers. Don't just let it boil. Don't be like, oh, I haven't gotten my bow or my trinket or my ring, and other people have been getting stuff. Like, what gives? What's going on? And we could sit you down and be like, hey, look, you've been going idle for trash. We don't appreciate that. So you lost EP that you didn't actually see. So that's why you don't have as much gear as other players. Or, the healers might need some gear. That's why you haven't gotten it. I'll give you a straight up answer. Just don't leave the guild. Don't start any drama. Just bring it to my attention. Hey, War, I need to talk to you. If I'm available, I'm available. If not, you're just gonna have to wait until I'm available, especially if I'm busy running a raid. So that concludes the tutorial. Hopefully this helped out a little bit. If you have any other questions, please reply to this post. I'm going to be putting this on the website in a thread. So if you have any questions, let me know, and then I'll post them underneath. Please, if you have questions, don't come to me and ask me. Post on the website, because somebody else might have that same question later on, and I'd rather it be all one source of information in this thread rather than answering the same question 300 times in the next 6 months. Just put all the questions in this thread. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be coming out with more tutorials as well, and also starting February 11th, I'll be recording all of our 25-man kills. It'll be as if the guild is brand new tier, new expansion, what have you. Your names will all be included, so you definitely want to come out starting Tuesday. We will be doing normals this week, and then next week we'll see what the gear is, and we'll look at everybody's gear and see if we're ready for heroics. But yeah, hopefully you guys like this video. Comment, let me know, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks.